Have you ever wondered, is the cup of coffee you drink every morning really coffee? Behind the sweet aroma and bold flavor, many big brands have been exposed with secrets that will shock you. Independent investigations reveal nearly 1/3 of the coffee on the market is blended with chemicals, fillers, and undeclared additives. And here are 7 coffee brands you need to stop drinking immediately if you don't want your health and your family's health to be at risk. For years, Kirkland's signature from Costco was seen as an affordable yet quality choice, especially with its 100% Colombian coffee line. But the truth exposed by independent analyses shocked many. This coffee is not pure at all as advertised. Laboratories found artificial flavor compounds, such as ethylate and isoamyl acetate, chemicals commonly used in the food industry to boost fake aromas. The striking part is they never appeared on the ingredient label, meaning customers were being deceived right from the packaging. It doesn't stop there. Kirkland applies flash roasting, a quick roast at extremely high temperatures. This method shortens mass production time but destroys natural compounds that give Colombian beans their unique flavor. To cover up the loss, they quietly add synthetic flavorings after roasting. The result is a cup of coffee with a fake smell, bland taste, and a chemical aftertaste that lingers in the mouth. It's no coincidence that more than 200 customers filed complaints in just the past 2 years. Many describe the taste as resembling flavored syrup, not real coffee. What's more concerning, this product is sold at about 40% cheaper than other 100% Arabica brands. According to experts, such a price gap is almost impossible if it were truly pure Colombian coffee. So behind the packaging that boldly declares 100% Colombian, what you actually get may just be a cheap industrial product disguised as premium coffee. In January 2025, America was shaken when the FDA issued an emergency nationwide recall of Clover Valley Instant Coffee, the budget instant coffee brand from the Dollar General chain. The reason, in many batches, experts found glass fragments mixed directly into the coffee powder. What's the risk? This is no longer just about flavor or poor quality. Each cup could contain sharp glass shards, leading to horrific consequences: tearing of the mouth and throat, damage to the digestive system, in the worst case, punctured organs, and life-threatening complications. What outraged the public is the Clover Valley plant had already been warned 3 times in the previous 18 months by Illinois health authorities for faulty inspection equipment, poor machine maintenance, and failure to perform basic safety steps. In other words, this was not an unexpected accident, but a disaster waiting to happen. Worse still, Dollar General's response was seen as careless. While some stores posted recall notices, surveys showed fewer than 30% of affected customers ever saw them. Many only found out after drinking the product, or worse, after suffering injuries. Clover Valley Instant Coffee is no longer a cheap everyday product. It is a deadly hazard, proof that when corporations put profit and speed above safety, consumers end up paying with their health. Great Value Classic Roast is one of the best-selling coffees in America, with tens of millions of households buying it every year. A huge canister at a price so low it seems unbelievable, appearing to be an unmissable deal. But independent investigations uncovered a very different truth. This product is not a great value at all. Testing showed that up to 15% of the product's weight is not real coffee, but husks, twigs, and farm debris, things that should have been discarded during processing. On top of that, labs discovered maltodextrin, a cheap starch additive commonly used in industrial foods, which was never listed on the label. This means consumers were blatantly deceived. They thought they were buying pure coffee, but what they actually got was a diluted filler-packed product disguised with additives. No wonder Consumer Reports described Great Value Classic Roast's flavor as weak, hollow, powdery, with an unusual artificial sweetness. Buyers paid for coffee, but what they received was essentially flavored water. The price itself raises suspicion, about $3 per pound, even lower than raw, unroasted green coffee beans. That can only happen if the manufacturer stretched the definition of coffee until it no longer meant coffee at all. With Great Value Classic Roast, consumers think they're getting a bargain, but in reality they're just paying for farm waste disguised as coffee. Folgers Classic Roast has long been a household name in America. With its famous slogan, "The best part of waking up and holding more than 20% of the US coffee market, millions trust Folgers to start their day." But behind that seemingly familiar aroma lies a secret that worries scientists. Independent studies found that Folgers Classic Roast contains unusually high levels of acrylamide, a compound naturally formed when food is cooked at very high temperatures. The problem is, acrylamide is not harmless. The International Agency for Research on Cancer has classified it as a probable human carcinogen. Findings from the FDA's Center for Food Safety and Applied Nutrition showed Folgers Classic Roast averaged 458 parts per billion of acrylamide, exceeding the European Union's safety limit of 400 parts per billion. In other words, each morning cup could be silently adding dangerous chemicals into your body. The shocking part is that Folgers knows how to reduce acrylamide by using lighter roasting methods, which can cut levels by up to 60%, yet they chose not to. Why? Because this would raise production costs by about 20% and might reduce market share. Folgers' final choice was not your health, but profit. Each cup may give you alertness, but it also carries the risk of dangerous chemical buildup in your body over time. For many people, decaf coffee is not a choice, but a necessity. Those with heart disease, anxiety disorders, or bodies sensitive to caffeine must rely on the decaf label to protect their health. But with our family Traverse City Cherry Decaf Ground Coffee, that trust was dangerously betrayed. In early 2025, the FDA issued a nationwide recall after discovering that this product was not decaffeinated at all. In fact, it contained the full caffeine content of regular coffee. For ordinary drinkers, the effects might only be shaky hands or sleeplessness. But for cardiac patients, anxiety sufferers, or those taking medications that interact with caffeine, the consequences could be arrhythmia, panic attacks, or even life-threatening complications. What made it worse, the product was widely distributed across 15 states, appearing in major retail chains like Spartan Nash Family Fare and D&W Fresh Market. The affected batches had expiration dates stretching into 2026, meaning thousands of consumers could have been drinking fake decaf for months before the recall. Investigations revealed that the packaging plant used the same production line for both regular and decaf coffee, but had no process to check caffeine levels before labeling. In other words, they slapped the decaf label carelessly, disregarding consumer safety. This was not just a technical mistake, it was deadly negligence, proving that when profit is placed above safety, even a morning cup of coffee can become a threat to your life. In many American households, coffee pods symbolize convenience. Just place the capsule into the machine, press a button, and within seconds you have a steaming cup. But behind that speed lies a serious health risk that few expect. Independent testing from Ellipse Analytics in the Center for Environmental Health revealed the aluminum lids of certain New Mexico Piñon coffee pod lines were printed with ink containing toxic chemicals, including benzophenone and 4-methylbenzophenone, compounds commonly used in plastics and inks absolutely not permitted to come into direct contact with food at high temperatures. When the pod is placed into the machine under extreme heat and pressure, trace amounts of these chemicals leach directly into the coffee. Although the measured level was below the European safety limit of 0.6 milligrams per kilogram, experts warned that daily exposure over years could still pose serious health risks. What's more alarming is that the FDA currently has no specific regulations for pod packaging materials, since existing standards were written long before coffee capsules became widespread. This means a legal loophole is leaving millions of consumers unprotected. According to market research, more than 40% of American households now use pod coffee machines. That means every day, millions could unknowingly be drinking coffee contaminated with packaging chemicals. Pods may bring convenience, but with New Mexico Piñon coffee, that convenience comes at an extremely dangerous health cost. For decades, Yuban was known as a premium American coffee brand, famous for 100% Arabica beans and a smooth, refined flavor. With elegant packaging and a traditional image, Yuban was once a symbol of quality. But between 2019 and 2021, the brand made a shocking about-face that left many loyal customers feeling betrayed. According to internal documents and industry reports, parent company Kraft Heinz quietly changed the formula, blending in 30 to 40% Robusta beans. Robusta is cheaper, more bitter, contains nearly twice the caffeine and higher levels of chlorogenic acids, harsh on the stomach. This switch cut production costs, yet the packaging still carried the claim 100% pure coffee, deceiving consumers. It didn't stop there. Independent testing also detected artificial flavorings like ethyl vanillin and 2,3-dimethylpyrazine, typically used to mask the harsh bitterness of low-quality coffee. None of these appeared on the label. The result was a noticeable change in Yuban's taste, more bitter, harder to drink with an unpleasant aftertaste. Consumer trend research by Mimal showed negative reviews for Yuban increased by 45%, and since the formula change, its market share has dropped more than 35%. A brand once considered premium has now become a cheap version of itself, surviving on legacy and branding rather than transparency and true quality. From Kirkland with artificial additives, Clover Valley with dangerous glass shards, Walmart's Great Value filled with fillers, Folgers with acrylamide, a probable cancer-causing chemical, to Our Family Decaf with fake labeling, New Mexico Piñon coffee pods leaking chemicals from packaging, and Yuban quietly changing its formula. All these names reveal a terrifying truth. The coffee industry is not as transparent as you think. Labels can deceive, turning chemicals and additives into so-called pure coffee. Recalls can be buried, leaving millions to unknowingly keep consuming dangerous products. Brands we've trusted for decades can secretly change recipes while keeping the packaging full of sweet promises. If even coffee, something simple, familiar, and part of everyday life, hides such dark secrets, then ask yourself how many other products in your kitchen are not what their labels claim to be. This is not just the story of coffee. This is a warning for the entire food industry, where profit is sometimes placed above public health. If this video opened your eyes, share it right now with friends and family so they know the truth. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next investigations into the hidden corners of the food industry, where we will keep pulling back the curtain to expose what lies inside the very products you use every day.